Good morning, children. Today we will start the seventh chapter of our supplementary reader, Footprints Without Feet. The name of the chapter is The Necklace, written by Guy de Maupassant. Something about the writer. He was a French writer. He was born on 5th August 1850 and he died on July 6, 1893. At the age of 42, he died. And he had written almost, or we can say near about 300 short stories. So, this is one of his famous stories. So, let's read it out and find out what is there in the story. Matilda is invited to a grand party. She has a beautiful dress but no jewelry. She borrows a necklace from a friend and loses it. What happens then? So, this is about the story of a girl or a lady, we can say, whose name is Matilda, and what happens in her life when she borrows a necklace from her friend to attend a party. Now, let's start. She was one of those pretty young ladies born as if through an error of destiny into a family of clerks. She had no dowry, no hopes, no means of becoming known, loved, and married by a man either rich or distinguished, and she allowed herself to marry a petty clerk in the office of the Board of Education. She was simple, but she was unhappy. So, children, take a pencil with you and write down the meanings of difficult words in your books. So, in this paragraph, petty in the last second line means fourth line. Petty means a lesser rank, or you can say a person of less importance. So, this is the story of a lady who was very beautiful, very pretty, young, and it is said that she was born as an error of destiny. Means भगवान की गलती से वो एक क्लर्क की फैमिली में पैदा हो गई थी. मीन्स शी डजेंट डिजर्व टू बी a daughter of a clerk. She was so beautiful. She was supposed to be born in a high class family or in a royal family or a rich class family. But by the mistake of destiny, she was born in the family of a clerks. So since her father also was not so rich, so they had no dowry to to give her in her marriage. So she had no hope of becoming rich or becoming known or being loved and married by a man who is either rich or well known. Distinguished means who is well known or famous. So she was married to a clerk. Her husband was again a clerk in the office of the Board of Education, and means this post is not so much of a higher rank, it's a post of a lesser rank. She was very simple, but she was not happy at all with her life. She suffered incessantly, feeling herself born for all delicacies and luxuries. She suffered from the poverty of her apartment, the shabby walls, and the worn chairs. All these things tortured and angered her. So she suffered incessantly means continuously. So from the first paragraph we come to know that she was not happy at all with her life. So after marriage also she was suffering continuously because she considers herself to get all the luxuries, to get all the delicacies, to get all the good things in her life. But she was not able to get all that. So she suffered all the time, and she suffered from the poverty of her apartment. Since her husband was a petty clerk, so her apartment was also not so good. The walls were very shabby, they are worn out, they were not beautifully painted, the furniture was also not good, the chairs were broken. So whenever she looks at all these things, she gets tortured, and that always angered her. When she seated herself for dinner opposite her husband, who uncovered the tureen with a delighted air, saying, "Oh, the good pot pie! I know nothing better than that." She would think of elegant dinners of shining silver. She thought of the exquisite food served in marvelous dishes. She had neither frocks nor jewels, nothing, and she loved only those things. So, whenever during the night time, whenever she had dinner with her husband, and whenever her husband uncovered the tureen, tureen is a deep bowl with the cover used for serving a soup. So whenever her husband uncovered that bowl, and he was very happy person, so he became very happy, and he always said, oh, the good pot pie, I know nothing better than that. Means he was very happy with whatever he had, and he always appreciated whatever he had. And but at that time also she was thinking about elegant, means grand dinners that were served in shining silver bowls, and she thought of exquisite, means very finely made. She thought of exquisite food that is served in wonderful bowls, wonderful dishes, but nothing was there. She just kept on thinking what she had not, and she was always unhappy. She had no frocks, no good dresses to wear, no jewelry to adorn herself, and but she always wanted all those things only. So she always suffered, and she was always angry. She had a rich friend, a schoolmate at the convent, who she did not like to visit. She suffered so much when she returned. She wept for whole days from despair and disappointment. Despair is, you can say, it's a complete loss of hope. So once she happened to meet a rich friend who was her schoolmate when she was in the convent school, and actually she didn't like her friend, but when she visited her, her friend was married to a very rich person. So, on seeing her richness, she was so suffered, and she kept on crying for the whole day and for the whole night. She was totally hopeless now, and she was very much disappointed. You can say she was a little bit jealous also of the riches of her friend. One evening, her husband returned, elated, bearing in his hand a large envelope. Elated means he was in a very extremely joyful mood. So, one evening, when her husband returned from his office, he was very happy, he was in a very joyful mood, and he was carrying a envelope in his hand. Here, he said, here is something for you. And he told her that he has brought something for her. Now, the next page, children. She quickly drew out a printed card on which were inscribed these words. So, what was there in the envelope? Actually, it was an invitation card, and what was written, inscribed means written. What was written in that? The Minister of Public Instruction and Madame George Ramponneau asked the owner of M and Mam Loisel's company. Monday evening, January 18, at the minister's residence. Actually, it was an invitation card, and both of them were invited. M and Mam Loisels. These are French words. So they were invited to a party on Monday, 18th January, at the minister's residence. Instead of being delighted as her husband had hoped, she threw the invitation spitefully upon the table, murmuring, "What do you suppose I want with that?" Now, her husband thought that she would be very happy because she always remained at home and she just did the household work. So, when if she will saw the invitation, she will be very happy. So, but nothing like that happened. Instead of being delighted, delighted means happy, instead of being happy as her husband had thought, she just threw the card spitefully. Spitefully means hurtfully. She was hurt when she saw the invitation card, and she just threw the card on the table, and she started saying something in a very low voice. Murmuring is to say something in a very low voice. What do you suppose I want with that? But my dearie, I thought it would make you happy. You never go out, and this is an occasion and a fine one. Everybody wishes one, and it is very select. Not many are given to employees. You will see the whole official world there. So, when she threw the card and when she said something which was not audible to her husband, then her husband said to her, "Dear, I thought that on seeing the card you will be happy, because generally you remain at your home, you never go out, and this is a good occasion, and more importantly, these cards are not given for to the whole of the employees. Only selected members are there who will come to the party, and to whom these cards are given, and you will see, or you will be able to meet the our whole official staff there." She looked at him with an irritated eye and declared impatiently, "What do you suppose I have to wear to such a thing as that?" Now, Why she was unhappy? It was all because, and this is a very common general problem of ladies. She looked at him with an irritated eye. She just looked at him with irritation and she said, I have nothing to wear. What do you think I'll wear in such a grand occasion? Generally all the ladies, whenever they have to go somewhere, they first of all think about their dress. So the same happened with this lady also. He had not thought of that. He stammered. But the her husband, he had never thought of that. He stammered. Stammered means he fumbled. Why? The dress you wear when we go to the theatre, it seems very pretty to me. He was silent, stupefied. Stupefied means a feeling of unhappiness, you can say. In dismay, dismay means sadness. At the sight of his wife weeping, he stammered, What's the matter? What's the matter? Now, since the husband has not thought of this, so he told her that the dress which you wore when we went to the theater, that was very beautiful. You looked very pretty in that. And after that he was silent. He had nothing to say. He was very sad when he saw that his wife was crying. She was sobbing. So he again stammered and he was a little bit worried and he asked her, What's the matter, darling? What's happened? What happened? Why are you crying? By a violent effort, she had controlled her vexation. Vexation is a state of distress. And responded in a calm voice, wiping her moist cheeks. Nothing, only I have no dress, and consequently, I cannot go to this affair. Give your card to some colleague whose wife is better fitted out than I. Now, she tried to control her sobs and she just wiped her moist cheeks and she, in a very calm voice, she said to her husband that no, nothing happened. I'm sorry, I can't go to the party because I don't have a good dress to wear on such occasion. So it will be good if you give this card to some of your co-worker whose wife is better suited for this function. Or you can say means whose wife has some good clothes and jewelry to decorate her. He was grieved but answered, Let us see, Matilda, how much would a suitable costume cost? Something that would serve for other occasions, something very simple. Then her husband thought and said, Okay, don't worry. See, let's see. And he asked her how much money would be suitable for a costume that would serve the purpose of this function as well as some other function also, and that should be a very simple one also. She reflected for some seconds, thinking of a sum that she could ask for without bringing with it an immediate refusal and a frightened exclamation from the economical clerk. So she thought for some time and then in her mind she just calculated that how much money she should ask for so that her husband should not immediately deny. Refusal is so that she can't ask for a big amount because then her husband would definitely deny. So she just thought and after some thinking she calculated and she just calculated and she asked him, and she didn't want a big amount because she know that if she would ask for a big amount, definitely her husband would deny it, and of course he will give a very shock. He will be shocked and he will give a very shocking response also. Children, that's all for today. Rest we will continue in the next class. I hope it is clear to you. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.